What job do you think you would be good at even though you have had no training? For me, I would say garbage man. Story 1. As a 5'5", 36-year-old man who looks 21 freshly shaved, I'm probably the wartime character with a health defect who overcomes obstacles and sneaks into a draft truck right before it leaves for the base, with a little help from my friends. I end up making friends with all the guys on the boat ride over, and only the chef knows my age secret because I prefer chicken tenders over anything else on the boat. In my first battle, I run out to attack the enemy in his foxhole, but my gun jams and I am immediately stabbed in the chest. The scene shifts to the actual main character avenging me, and coming over to cradle me as I bleed out in a crater. He says to me, "You always were short, but when it came to being a man, you stood tall." He pulls a chicken tender from his pocket, and I take one small bite before my eyes glaze over. He takes one more look at me, then carries on into the battle and the rest of the actual story. Yeah, I think I'd do well with that. Story 2. A fixer. Like, you call me with a logistical problem, I solve it. Point A to point B, I'm on it. Dispose of a body? On it. Need a translator, security detail, special access to a place, permits for a thing, lodging for a crew, special weapons? No problem. You pay the bill, I get it done. No questions asked. I have no idea how you become a fixer, but I can do it. So, I suppose the only thing I can't fix is getting that job. Then again, no one has asked me to fix that for myself, so kind of a stalemate. Story 3. Honestly, except for the jobs that require a lot of education prior, like doctor or lawyer, I think that most careers can be done by most people if they have the willingness to learn and improve over time. Story 4. Pretty sure I could be a chief executive officer of any large retail store. I'm not convinced there is more to the job than meeting with important people and telling them your company is great and they are too. Plus, anything too complicated for me to understand, I just hire a consultant or two. Story 5. Therapist. I've always had people open up to me. Family, friends, total strangers. My sister had the same capability, and that was the biggest thing mentioned at her funeral. How everyone would miss talking to her and listening to her sage advice. Story 6. University Board of Regents member. I believe this so firmly that I once wrote myself in for University of Colorado Board of Regents back when I lived in the Denver area. Alas, the fake news media and rigged voting machines stole it from me. Sad. I would never say this, I'm too humble, but a lot of people tell me I would be the greatest regent of all time. A general from the United States Army came up to me, crying, just the other day and said, "Sir, you're so brave. You would have been a big, beautiful regent for that fine school." Story 7. Lawyer. Law school, especially the prestigious ones, provide no lawyer training whatsoever. You go for 3 years pretending that asking lots of questions is somehow rigorous and unique to the legal profession, and never get introduced to anything lawyers do. Then you buy an additional bar review course and learn everything for the bar exam in 2 months. After passing the bar, you are a licensed attorney and can practice law. But you have no idea what lawyers do and have to figure it out as you go along. Any reasonably smart person you know could become a good attorney without training because nearly all, if not all, attorneys had no training. Figuring out how to do the job on your own is the essence of the legal system, at least in the United States of America. It's nonsense, but it makes a lot of money for law schools and law firms who can exploit young associates. Story 8. Rescue diver. I've been swimming in the ocean my entire life and am very comfortable with rough waters. I am also big and strong and have a deep voice, which are factors that can help reassure people under duress. Story 9. There are a lot of hilarious answers here, but if you are asking a serious question, I am excellent at in-person communication and resolving conflict between others. I am fair and objective. I simply do well owning my own business and have no interest in seeking out employment. Story 10. Congressman. All you have to do is take bribes and act dumb. That's the easiest job in the world. I just need to work on my fake outrage face and get all the cliché talking points down. Story 11. I think I would be good at being a tour guide. I love learning about history and interesting facts, and I have a knack for storytelling. Even though I have never had formal training, I think my enthusiasm and ability to engage with people would make the experience enjoyable for visitors. Story 12. Literally everything I've put my mind to I've been really decent at. I don't think there's anything I'm terrible at other than football. I've got no interest in it and no drive to become better. Story 13. Having been a garbage man, I can assure you zero training is exactly what you need or get. Unless you are driving, they just give you the basic health and safety instructions like don't run out into traffic. Let's be honest, how hard is it to move a bin and press some buttons? There is an expected level of fitness as you run from house to house, but it is an unskilled job. Story 14. Had this happen in real life? I literally fell into a caregiver job for a quadriplegic. No experience. I did not grow up wanting to be a caregiver or anything. I am a technical person, science and stuff, but I found I had a natural talent for it. Spent 20 years in the same position, and it was very rewarding knowing that you make a difference for someone not as fortunate as yourself. Story 15. I want to be a lion tamer. Lively brown furry things with short stumpy legs and great long noses. I don't know what all the fuss is about. I could tame one of those. They look pretty tame to start with. Story 16. I pick up on people's behaviors. My situational awareness is next level. I can't tell the future, but predicting has been weirdly accurate. Story 17. Astronaut. Just have to sit there and the rocket does the rest. The science that programs like the National Aeronautics and Space Administration do, on the other hand, maybe. I do have a doctor of philosophy, but not in something I think they would care about. Story 18. Might sound weird to say this, but any scam-related stuff. Too many scams are just so stupid and they still work. Imagine what would happen if you actually made them good. Story 19. Senator. I hate going to work and these people are never there. I talk about things I'm going to do all the time. I've been planning to build a barbecue pit in my yard for months. Still haven't started it. I'm basically already in Congress. Story 20. Fixing bicycles. Always thought about starting a mobile bike repair shop focusing largely on casual customers who want a spring tune-up or have their bike that they bought online assembled. It would be really easy to beat the local bike shop service times, and I will not treat you poorly because you did not buy it from my shop. I have done 99% of my own work for the last 20 years and love it. Story 21. I have been obsessed with film scores since I first saw Star Wars, but I have not read music in years and would not know where to begin with an orchestra or anything else. Story 22. Night cleaning crew. Haven't been trained on any of the equipment like floor buffers or anything else they might have, but I could absolutely rock a night cleaning crew job. I would love it. Story 23. I know so many people say, why would they write it like that? But I genuinely feel like I come up with decent, original ideas sometimes and would also make for a great writer's consultant. I do the research so you don't have to worry about accuracy. Story 24. I have had several people say I would make an excellent politician. 1. For not giving a straight answer to most questions. 2. For actually wanting to improve the system for the majority of people. 3. For the almost sociopathic ability to lie straight-faced about knowing something. Story 25. There's some tech stuff that I would be really good at despite having no training. I am very good with cellular technology such as Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile, as well as video editing, which I am self-taught in. I'm also good at selling, despite not having any training, as I learned from my dad, and I am very knowledgeable about the weather. I've had a lifelong fascination with weather and have learned how to read radar exceptionally well. Story 26. Well, it depends. In terms of the potential to learn and be good at it, just about anything. To be good at it straight away with zero training or relevant experience. Pretty much none. Story 27. Teacher, most of my family have told me so, and some of them are teachers. I did have some experience in college. I did a good job despite not knowing what I was talking about. Granted, the course was organic chemistry. Story 28. Parody songwriting. Discovered it's super easy to write lyrics when you're not being serious about it. Learned that from using Udio. Story 29. Barber. I'm a Finnish carpenter, so I like to think I've got an eye for detail, shape, and precision. If I wasn't cutting wood, I'd like to be cutting hair. Story 30. I have close relatives and friends who say I would have been a good attorney. My mom went as far as to say I would make a good preacher if I wasn't an atheist. Not sure that's a good thing. Story 31. Selling incredibly expensive items. I don't know what it would be, but something that's in demand for the ultra-wealthy, like $500,000 watches or something like that. EDXL. Story 32. I was a lifeguard and know how to do a lot from watching videos and practicing on myself, which I guess is a little training. I've never been squeamish and have a knack for helping when others feel uncomfortable. Story 33. DJ, as in playing music, not producing it. Definitely can't be a producer. Solid at track selection when playing for friends. I just don't have the proper equipment to mix on, so it's just Spotify selection. But the technology is so easy to use now, I could learn to mix in an afternoon with all the auto-sync features. From there, it's just practice to get better. But socially, I really don't want to be that guy who thinks that some random bar letting him play without pay in exchange for free drinks on a Tuesday night is a stepping stone to the Ultra Music Festival main stage. Story 34. Neuropsychology research. If I was younger, I would for sure go back to college for this. I have thought about taking some classes just for fun, but I think my time would be better spent on the golf course. Story 35. Anything that involves doing things step by step from a manual. If there is a manual needed to get the job done, I am your man. I follow directions precisely, and if I mess up, I start over so that I am guaranteed not to miss the step again. Story 36. Congressman. I'm pretty sure I can take millions from corporations and convince my constituents that everything that makes them dumber, poorer, lonelier, and makes their lives harder is actually in their best interest. Story 37. Most C-suite positions and any upper management positions. To be honest, from what I can tell, as long as you keep on top of meetings and track your projects, you should be fine. Maybe Google what the industry standard for your field is now and then. Those positions seem mostly based on who you know and some basic skills anyone with an intelligence quotient of at least 120 can do. Story 38. I work in a hospital as a medical professional, and I know exactly what middle and upper management in my department does. I could do that and my own job any given day. Make it my only job, and I would increase productivity and worker morale by at least 400%. Story 39. Project manager. I have worked at a large corporate headquarters and dealt with a few projects where the project manager had no idea what was going on or anything about the project details. However, they had a business degree and an Agile or Lean certificate. Story 40. Anything I see on TV. Drag, pottery, woodworking, repairs, auto body design, building cars, mechanics, interior design, building a house. Anything they do as a competition or reality TV, I'm convinced I could do it. I do not have a single one of the skills or background necessary to do these things, but they make it look so easy on the shows, I know it's not actually, that I'm fully convinced I could do it first try, no training. Story 41. Therapist. The kind that tells you things you know you need to hear but don't want to. Yes, that's me. Also, a lawyer. Not the legal jargon part, but the you're full of it cross-examination part. Story 42. Being a leader of a country and not caving to the influence of donors. The problem is there are billions like me, but we don't get elected because the system is a little rigged against us. I'm not even part of a political party, so it's a very far-off pipe dream. Story 43. Fact checker at National Public Radio sounds cool. I wouldn't be amazing on day one, but I think I'd get good at it quickly. Editor for books too, maybe. Again, eventually, not literally day one. Story 44. Movie or film or food critic. I can critique and complain all day. It's not useful to anyone really, but I have the skills of a lifetime of annoyances and disappointments to draw on for inspiration. Story 45. Working with dogs, preferably at a no-kill shelter. I have almost always had dogs growing up, and my dad has one now. They are super easy to read, and I used to learn about them a lot as a kid. I love them to death too. Story 46. An investigator or detective. I am someone who is always curious and very good at finding information. Plus, I can make connections where there may be none at first glance. I even work in Know Your Customer and anti-money laundering at the moment, so yes. Story 47. Parking bylaw officer. I hate illegal parking with a passion. You can call me names and threaten me, but I'm still writing that ticket, and I will go to court on my days off. Story 48. Doctor. The patient just waits, and I come in and ask them about their symptoms. I nod and say okay. Then I leave for a few minutes, search their symptoms online, and return telling them what is most likely, and I prescribe them the recommended treatment. Rinse and repeat. Story 49. Politics. I have some controversial views, not that there are any other kind in politics, and know nothing about a lot of things. I give my opinions for free right now, so it makes sense that I am special and deserve a $200,000 plus base salary for them. Story 50. A house cleaner. I know I'd need to clean unimaginably dirty toilets and other crazy stuff, but I really feel I could do it. Also, being a kindergarten teacher, a secretary, a confectioner, a nanny, I'd also like to study to become an obstetrician. I think I could do it. Story 51. Driving a stick-shift vehicle. I don't know if video games count as training, and sorry if they do, but I play American Truck Simulator and have a full wheel, pedals, and H-pattern shifter setup for it. I have the understanding and can do it in the game, but I have yet had the chance to drive a stick-shift vehicle in real life and would love the opportunity. I've thought about buying a cheap used stick shift just to practice in, but then think it's a dumb way to spend money.